Is Apple a good company to work for? In this video, we're going to be looking at a few different websites, a few different digital assets to gauge whether Apple is a good place to spend a career or to try and help vet whether an opportunity at Apple would be the right one for you. We're going to be looking at Apple through a few different lenses, of course. We're going to look at it from resume appeal. So, does the company's reputation and narrative foot to what you want to achieve with your career, and also does the brand and the company speak nicely to kind of future opportunities? So will somebody in the future look and say, okay, you worked at so and so company, Apple in this case, and make you a more attractive candidate as a result? That's the basis of resume appeal. You want to look for growth. So does the company have a big enough org chart, or at least enough growth potential to where you can get your hands dirty and really kind of get your hands in different places to where you can learn different skills and you can learn things to take your career to another level, take your skill set to another level. And then finally, you want to look at a company through the lens of its future prospects. So a little bit of the financials. Is there enough economic incentive for you to join? What does kind of tenure at the company look like? Just so that you get a good understanding of the value that a company can bring to you as a candidate, on top of what you can bring to them as an employee. So in this video, we're going to be looking at Apple, of course, one of the most well-known brands in the world. It's in the press right now, at least with a new kind of bonus incentive program that they're putting in place as we come into the end of the year, and they try and hang on to their retail workers. But a couple fun facts about Apple, or a little bit of background information. The company was founded in 1976, so it's definitely been around a little while, and you've got a little bit of pedigree there. It's one of the most well-known brands in the world, global footprint, but headquartered in Cupertino, California. And the current CEO is Tim Cook, again, one of the most recognizable, I think, business figures in the world. 2020 revenue was 274 billion, so massive sales and massive balance sheet. 2020 headcount was 147,000, so a really big base of brain power and labor, and so if you're the kind of individual who likes working for big companies, then Apple is probably the right place for you. This is also a public company, so if you're the kind of individual who likes to work for public companies, Apple is probably a good one for you as well. So that's a little bit of background on the company, and then how we'll look at the company through different lenses. Let's dive into some of the digital assets here. So the first thing we do, at least when we try and vet a company for how good it is as an employer, is just kind of get a sense of the company from a website standpoint. And so we're using this to look at the company. What does it sell? What does it do? I think that's pretty important to know as a job seeker. Most of us already know, but Apple, of course, is a consumer electronics good. They've got a robust services platform as well. So here's a business that is firing on a few different fronts, I'd say. So they got the phones, the watches, the iPads, different things like that, computers. They've got Apple TV as well, so plenty of opportunity. It looks like from a resume appeal and a growth standpoint, I think to really get in there and learn a few different skills and contribute to a company that has ambitious plans. So all on that front looks pretty good. The second thing you want to look for as a job seeker is their careers portal, and that's here at the bottom of the page. Typically they are, so that's typical placement for a careers portal link, at least. And here's the careers at Apple's page. Looks great just on first impression. So this is where individual imaginations gather together, committing to the values that lead to great work. Here you'll do more than join something, you'll add something. So ambitious kind of employer value proposition statement there. But if that speaks to you as an employee, I think that's fantastic. Join a team and inspire the work. I think at least in my experience, Apple is one of those companies that definitely fosters collaboration, and so teamwork is one of those things that if that's kind of your cup of tea, then here's a company that really touts it. It's the second messaging on the careers portal. And so that's definitely something that they value, and I think if you value that too, then this is the right place for you. life at Apple with community. Um, Here's another kind of quote here that talks about inclusivity. So all sorts of really positive messaging around um, culture and different things that I think people typically look for in a job opportunity. So um, that's all positive, and that's something that I think if it fits to what you want out of an employer, then that's important to go and take a look at. The next page we'll look at is this here, which is the part-time position, part-time job description. At the top of the careers page, you might remember seeing that they had a little link there that spoke to seasonal work, and then this again is one of the most innovative companies in the world, but it's also retail driven, and so we're going into the end of the year here with Black Friday, Thanksgiving in the States, and then the holiday season going into December. So they're of course making a big push around seasonal work, and so if that's something that speaks to you, then Apple has that opportunity as well, that people can vie for. So that's interesting there. Something that's quite cool to see. Just diving back to the careers at Apple's page, believe it's a different page here, but this one speaks a little bit more to the style of work, which is interesting. Apple is organized by functional specialties rather than business units, which they say is rare for a company of their size. That's probably true. I think large organizations are easier to manage through business units, but I'd be very interested to kind of learn the actual difference between functional specialties and business units. So there's just a statement there that I think would be interesting to ask, I think, in an interview, if you were going into an interview there. Leaders at Apple combine their expertise with two other important characteristics: immersion in the details and a willingness to collaboratively debate during collective decision making. Again, speaking strongly to that collaborative nature that we spoke about when we first hit their careers portal. I think it was the second message that they put up, which was about collaboration. So that's obviously a very important part of the culture here at Apple, and something that either it speaks to you as a worker currently, or something that you probably want to strive to appreciate, because I think that's going to be a big thing for the work environment there. So yeah, this page speaks a little bit more to the different kind of cultural characteristics here: innovation, collaboration, again, areas of work. So here's the different functions that Apple has. As a job seeker, I think that's encouraging. We spoke about growth and being, if one of the appeals, at least to working at a company of this size, is the ability to kind of transfer over, or at least learn new skills, to see if that's an opportunity I want to go for, and you can actually achieve that. So there's a lot of opportunity at Apple here, many different functional specialties, as they say. So let's dive into corporate functions just to get a look at what they're hiring for at the corporate level. Again, great looking page. Let's see. So find a team, begin your story here. Information systems and technologies, finance, legal, people, learning and development, global security. Just plenty of different places where you could apply your skill set, and plenty of room for growth. So that looks great there. The next thing we want to jump to as a job seeker vetting an opportunity is to try and get a sense of what benefits are on offer at a company. And this is the page on Apple that speaks about benefits, and we'll just kind of run through them just to see what's on offer here. So it looks like Apple offers flexible medical plans that cover both physical and mental health care. You can also be eligible for fitness-related expenses. There's doctors and nurses at the wellness centers at the major campuses. So kind of an interesting benefits there. You've also got a kind of a very robust medical coverage plan there that gets you get time paid away. You've got 401k, you've got savings plans. You're eligible for stock grants. Also discounts when you're purchasing Apple stock too. So there's the financial incentive there to be a part of the company. This speaks a little bit to continuous learning. So they've got classes and seminars, and you can learn general business skills, software skills. So that's a really interesting. Reimburse you for certain educational expenses, including tuition. So if you're one of those people who likes professional development, and then Apple has that basis for you to take advantage of. Time or paid time away again. So reiterating the PTO policy there. Looks like Apple also does a matching program for your donations. So for every dollar that you donate to a eligible organization, they donate an additional dollar, and then they also donate $25 for every hour that you volunteer. That's really interesting. Interesting little benefit there. Get the world's best prices on the world's best products, Apple products. Obviously, you get heavy discounting on their products there, which is interesting. So quite a robust little program of or offering of benefits there, but something I think that we only get a quick sense of on the website. Something that if you're going through the interview process or if you're vetting the opportunity in depth, I'd say definitely get a greater sense of the benefits on offer there. But on the surface, so far so good. Looks pretty competitive and attractive to a worker. So we've covered benefits. The next thing we want to look at is just to get a sense of some of the cultural aspects. So what does tenure look like? Well, what do people does the company have a decent following on LinkedIn? So that's the next place we'll look. Company has 279,000 employees on LinkedIn. So that's a lot more than the reported 147,000 that on the quick kind of Google search that we did before this. So a little bit of vetting probably needed there to figure out the actual headcount numbers. But that's easy number to get to. 3-year median tenure, 20% total headcount growth over the last 6 months. So think about the macroeconomic environment right now where companies are reporting heavy kind of labor shortages and problems on that front. So to improve headcount 20% over the last 6 months, I think is encouraging. A median tenure of 3 years is above average, or that number is changing a lot over the last kind of few years. But 3 years is not bad considering how big that org chart is at Apple, and then also kind of the different kinds of roles that they have. Right, you can imagine somebody maybe in a retail environment won't last as long as someone, say, at the corporate level high up on the org chart. So 3 years is a really decent number there. Something to pay attention to as you're thinking about a job opportunity there and whether Apple is a good fit for you as an individual as well. So that's important to note. The next thing we take a look at is social. Companies use social in different ways, and we're just kind of taking a snapshot here at their Instagram. Some companies use it to push social messaging. Some use it as a pure kind of sales tactic. Apple seems to tout or at least showcase its capabilities with the camera, I'd say, and with their products. So that's what this looks like. If you were really kind of thinking about a position at Apple, I'd take a look at their social media just to get a sense of how they use the social media, what kind of messaging they're touting there. A lot of companies will use social to highlight some of the social issues that they want to attach their brand to. So it's important to at least foot your personal views on the world with the company's views and see if they're aligned. And if they're not, whether you're comfortable pursuing a position there. So that's something to just take a look at as you kind of go through there. Reputation of the company is important as a job seeker. We spoke earlier about making sure that the future you has an actual net benefit as a result of working at the company today or tomorrow or in the near future at least. And so reputation of the company has a big part to play in that. So a quick Google News look at Apple. I mean, there's a lot of talk about the new phone that just came out, stock price. So really nothing that comes across as a red flag. I think that, again, this is a company that's been around since 1976, so they obviously know how to work reputation and the media. So I think we're safe there as a job seeker, but that's of course something that you should vet a little bit more seriously if that's something that is on your mind in terms of future prospects. The next thing to look at, I'd say, would be the Glassdoor. And granted, Glassdoor, a big disclaimer on Glassdoor, it's kind of lessening in importance, because I think, there are reports now that job seekers typically know that you get a very skewed look at a company, right? You get very happy and very unhappy. So it's not a fair, real look at a company. But it's just good to look at. I mean, the more inputs you get as you're vetting an opportunity, the better. 4.3, which is way above the average of 3.3 on Glassdoor as a company rating. So that's good to see. And then just another input. So definitely have a look at Glassdoor if you're taking a look at a company, but take it with a grain of salt also, that it's a bit of an echo chamber for certain kinds of comments. So we've had a look at that, and I guess one of the last things to look at is to look at the stock price. This speaks to economic incentive and really the growth trajectory of the company, and how investors look at the company from a potential standpoint. You track the stock price back 5 years. This is a company that's grown 400%, 420% nearly since 2017. Some massive growth. We spoke earlier about one of the benefits being the opportunity to buy stock at a discounted price. So if working at a public company is attractive to you, then Apple has this sort of a track record with their stock price, and I mean, that's a pretty impressive trajectory there. So that looks pretty good from a prospect and a growth standpoint. So yeah, I think all in all, we've covered kind of the main pillars of what you would want to look for when you're vetting an opportunity. Making sure that Apple speaks to resume appeal. I think we've covered a lot of those topics, that speak to how a future employer would look at your tenure at Apple, and I think that speaks quite positively. The growth prospects. So we looked at the org chart. We looked at the different opportunities available at Apple. The diversity of opportunity at Apple, I think we've talked about as well. We walked through. So it's a big org chart, with a lot of different functions. So there seems to be a lot of opportunity to grow over time as well. And then we covered prospects. So the stock price, we covered kind of how employees look at the company from a reputation standpoint. We talked about also how what tenure looks like, and headcount growth. So those are all inputs that you need to take when you're vetting a company. From our perspective, everything was above average in terms of the inputs, at least. But that's, of course, a decision that you have to make on your own, and that's kind of how you would want to break down whether it would be a good decision to work at Apple or not.